This is Mark in the Center for Online Learning and Innovation. At Canisius College, you have access to a set of resources provided by Google through a Google Apps for Education license. These are similar to what anyone can get free from Google by creating a Google account that is commonly associated with an email address ending at gmail.com. Google Apps for Education, however, has some additional capabilities and protections for data privacy. In this video, I'll discuss the very basics of Google Apps for Education, getting into your Google Apps, how to discover what's there, and how these resources are different from Gmail accounts. In other videos, you can explore the various Google resources available to you in depth. Your Google Apps for Education account, or as I call it, a Canisius Google account, is not linked to a Google email or Gmail address like free Google accounts typically are. Canisius student email addresses are Google email accounts, although they are branded as canisius.edu accounts. By contrast, faculty and staff Google Apps accounts are grafted to canisius.edu email addresses provided through another program, Microsoft Exchange. This is why, if you access your email through a web browser, for example, your email appears in a web version of Microsoft's Outlook email and calendar toolset. If someone shares a file with you that they placed in their Google Drive, they can enter your canisius.edu email address, and you receive notification of this in your Exchange email. Similarly, if you set up a notification on a Google form to let you know that someone's filled out and submitted that form, Google lets you know through your Canisius Exchange email. In these respects, your Google Apps communicates with you and your Exchange email just like it would a Google email account. But a crucial difference is that Google really knows you as a username that looks like an email address but isn't really an email address and isn't precisely the same as your real Canisius College email address. The formula for your Google identifier is your Canisius username, followed by the @ sign, and then my.canisius.edu. For most things you do, this isn't important. But knowing this allows you to do a few different things. One is to provide a username and password, for example, on a Google Drive mobile app, so you can access your Google Drive on your phone or your tablet. There are several ways to log into Canisius Google Apps. The easiest is simply to log into My Canisius and then use the link in the left-hand menus. If I log into My Canisius, I'm automatically logged into my Google Apps in that browser. This is the most convenient, and even if I use desktop Outlook or Mac Mail, for example, to read my email, I log into my Canisius in my default browser if I anticipate using any files or other resources in Google Apps. YouTube is a slightly special case in that even if I'm logged into my Canisius Google account within a browser, I still need to click Sign In at YouTube to get into my personal YouTube resources. YouTube logs me in, even without asking me for my username and password. Another method I may use to reach a Google resource, including YouTube, is to log in at a google.com screen, for example, perhaps drive.google.com. Now, in this case, I'm using a browser in which I'm not logged into my Canisius, so Google doesn't know who I am. I need to use my Google identifier, my username, followed by the @ sign, followed by my.canisius.edu. Once Google has this, it realizes I'm one of those Canisius users and hands me off to a Canisius College login screen. Here, I enter my username, without the @my.canisius.edu, and password, just like I do if I'm logging into my Canisius. Then I'm taken directly into my Google Drive. This second way of reaching my Google Drive works, but I find it's always quicker just to go through my Canisius to begin with. Still, it's worth knowing because there are times when you may, for example, click a link to reach a Google resource in a browser where you are not logged into your Canisius Google account and are presented with a Google login screen like, for example, drive.google.com. You may have a personal Google or Gmail account besides your Canisius Google account. Be mindful of the account that you are logged into at any time. In this case, a colleague shared a file with me at mycanisius.edu address, but in my default browser, I'm logged into my personal Google account. So the browser is telling me I don't have access to the file. I need to log out of my personal account and log into my Canisius Google account. Then I have access to the file. Once I'm logged into my Canisius Google account, finding various Google resources is easy. This little box in the upper right-hand corner of most screens shows me a drop-down with various Google resources. It's even customizable. Although they are similar in many ways, there are several reasons I should use my Canisius Google account for teaching and administrative work I do here at the college. For one, in the case of Google Drive and the files within it, including videos or Google Docs, Google adheres to federal privacy and security stipulations concerning student data. In some Google tools, such as YouTube, this is not the case, even within my Canisius account. But in my ordinary Gmail account, Google has some basic privacy protections, but is otherwise not obligated to follow specific legal guidelines for student data at all. This even includes my Google Drive attached to my Gmail address and files therein. More practically, my Canisius Google Drive has unlimited storage, whereas my Gmail-based Google Drive is limited to around 15 gigabytes of data. Finally, I have more sharing options that are specific to Canisius College. In my personal Google Drive, I can share with other people securely, or I can use links that more or less make a file available to anyone who can find it on the web or somehow got a hold of the web address, the URL. In my Canisius Google Drive, I have another setting which makes the file available to anyone at Canisius College with access to the link, but they must log in order to see the file.